Oh, oh, oh man, I just had the worst dream. I just thought I was at the Citadines about to do simulator. Got my study notes. Management reference guide. This is how good this community is that we live in, boys. When I went to get my command, that thing cost around about 200 bucks about 10 years ago. And a guy called Ben Dagger, without being asked, went and bought that and stuck it in my letterbox. What a champion. We have got so many champions in our ranks. So, how do you prepare for simulators? I spend about, some people spend about 50% reading the discussion items and then about 50% studying what they're going to do in the simulator. Other guys spend like 20% on the discussion items and 80% doing the stuff in the simulator. And lots of guys use this mental chair flying, they call it, which is really effective. We can talk about that later. I've got a pretty special technique. I do what's called 99% procrastination and 1% fear and terror. I'll show you. So if I draw a graph here, this will be fear, and there's a line, well, it's basically time, but it also equals procrastination. And so about, I don't know, well, even 3 months prior, some guys start preparing 3 months prior, I know, my procrastination will grow. And just in a gut feeling, just in the back of my mind that I don't discuss with anyone, my fear is starting to grow. So about here I might, every now and then, grumble at the kids. And every now and then I might ask somebody if they did the simulator, and then I'll forget about it again. I'll go play golf or something. And then my fear is still growing and my procrastination's still growing. And about here, probably, I don't know, 2 weeks out, I start thinking, geez, I better do something about that bloody simulator. And then there'll be a really good thing on Netflix. So I'll go and watch that. And that'll help me ignore my rising fear, and I'll keep procrastinating. And finally, up here with about 2 days to go, I'll hit my little window of pure terror. And this little window really motivates me, and I'm able to turn that into about 8 hours of study, but that 8 hours of study tends to then turn into about 4 hours of, yep, I really got to get down and do this stuff. And then at the last minute, I'll probably do 2 hours of, right, I'll get open those recalls. And then about an hour before, I'll just think, I wonder if the first officer's having as much problem studying as I am. I better check in with him. I could iron a shirt, I suppose. Yeah, I'll iron a shirt. I just was getting through the cold weather operations when I realised my teeth were furry. I felt like about that far thick of just stuff on my teeth. But clean teeth, folks, are going to get us through this. Clean teeth. Mark my words. Look at those untidy socks. I've only been in the room for about 8 hours. How is it possible that I filled the bin? I'll have to go for a walk instead of studying. 15 minutes, I can do that. Right, my co-is meeting me in, my first officer's meeting me in about 10 minutes, so that's how long we've got. I'm sorry if yesterday's video got a little bit heavy, but I thought everyone was feeling a little bit fearful thought there were some good management things that we can maybe employ. So stay strong out there, guys and girls, and we're going to get through this. Latest news, Prime Minister was on telly last night restricting groups down to even smaller than what it was previously. I think indoor marriages of 5 people, outdoor sporting things like when you see those people in the park doing push-ups together won't affect me. Down to 10, I think it was. Tip of the day. Today's tip's a lot lighter. If you are sitting there and at some point in the day you just really start feeling all the weight of this is starting to get a bit too much, find a family member and hug them. Just go up to them and say, I need a hug, and just hug them. Now, today, if I do that with my co-pilot, I'll probably be slapped in the face, or it could be an interesting night. Either way, I probably won't try it. But just go up to a family member and hug them, and you will not believe how therapeutic that is for both of you. So, touchy-feely one for the day. Just go up and hug someone. Next couple of days, I want to talk about building community around you, just in your small sphere of influence. For example, do you know your neighbours right now? Now's the time to get to know your neighbours before things start to get a bit squirrely in a couple of weeks. Talk about that soon. Song of the day, we've already done. Joke of the day. I'll get through this really quickly and then we'll have to wrap it up. Arnold Schwarzenegger. My Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions are going to be terrible. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's worried that his wife is maybe fooling around on him. And he's always checking, I'm always checking on her. But he rings her one day and she doesn't answer the phone and he gets immediately angry. But he's quite an old man now, so his heart starts to flutter and he's running. I will find out if she is cheating on me. And he gets to the door and he tries to open the door, it's not answering, so he kicks that door down. Door bursts off its hinges, Arnold comes in the room, where is she? And there she is. She's just cooking dinner. He must have been wrong. And his heart starts to calm down. But then he thinks, no, the window is open. So he runs over to the window and he looks down and there is a man walking across the park right next to their apartment and he's tucking his shirt in. And he goes, oh, and his heart starts going crazy. I knew you were fooling around on me. And he goes and he picks up the first thing he can find, which is a fridge. He picks up a fridge and he runs to the window and he throws it. And that fridge flies through the air. And just as it's flying through the air, Arnold, his heart's been going so hard that he dies. And that fridge keeps going and slams into the man walking across the park. Now, Arnold awakes to find himself at the pearly gates. There's a man there, there's a bit of a line. And the man in front, St. Peter, says, so just explain how you got here. And he goes, yeah, I was just leaving my family. I live in the bottom unit of a block of flats, and I just was late for work, so I just rushed out of the house. I was just tucking my shirt in, and then a fridge hit me in the head. And he goes, oh, okay, off you go into heaven. And then there's Arnold standing there, and Arnold, and he goes, oh, St. Peter, I'm so sorry. That man is dead because of my jealousy, and I am dead because of my jealousy. And he says, oh, it's understandable. Okay, Arnold, in you go. And then St. Peter turns to the next guy in line and says, so what's your story? And he goes, mate, I was just minding my own business sitting inside a fridge. That's the joke. Movie of the day, the famous Pulp Fiction. Tarantino at his best. Get this out, watch it again. It's even better than you remember it. Just going downstairs to meet my partner in crime. The lady just came to clean my room. I'm the only person on the floor. And good deed of the day, mate, I gave her a $5 because I know that she's probably doing it harder than me.
I'm John.
John.
This is John.
Two Johns.
Two Johns and Irene in the back.
Irene, now guys, you will all recognise this place because this is the postal hall. So this is where a lot of us get our coffees in the mornings. How many customers have you had today?
26.
20. So guys, if you are here doing your sims or recurrencies, this is the place to come. Thumbs up. See you boys. Here's Mitch. Mitch.
Morning.
Well done. This is Melbourne City. And I sort of feel like I'm on the set of The Walking Dead. There is no one here. It's weird, mate. This, as Mitch just pointed out, was the Yarra in 1904. Looks like a good crowd. And, oh, there's 2 people. But other than them and they look like they're evacuating the city. That's about it. So it looks like, I don't know, Melbourne in 1973. So I'm off to buy a house for $14,000 and then I'm going to meet with Kerry Packer and suggest one day. Rod Laver Arena. So we've got our dose of exercise in, which was, I think, video day 2. And finally, I haven't seen one boot camp out here, so well done, Australia. Righto, we've almost finished our walk. We've stayed at 1.5 metres from each other at all points in this walk. And so doing our duty. I got Mitch here. He's my partner in crime, my co-captain. And mate, I'm just sure everyone is so sick of hearing my pearls of wisdom. So I'm going to ask you one question. Mate, for the 600 or so people that are going to watch this stupid diatribe, what message have you got just for all the other fellow pilots out there going through this, mate?
Jeez, put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, I'm the most vulnerable out of anyone because I'm right at the bottom of the pile at the moment, so I suppose how I'm getting through this is just trying to find value in the smaller things, the simple things in life at the moment, you know, and like a walk with a good guy like yourself, you know.
Not hard for you, you've got a newborn, haven't you?
Yeah, I got a newborn, so I see value in that. Going to spend some quality time with her and my wife, and yeah, I think that's time we won't get back, and I'm quite grateful for that. So if I sort of focus on what could potentially happen or where we're going, it's kind of a bit negative, so I kind of just pull myself back and say, you know what, I'm just grateful to have this time to spend with my family. So
yeah, good. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that answer. Mate, he's just come from Cathay. Their loss. How good are Qantas, guys? We're a good group of men and women. High caliber people, you and me. We will get through this. Sim supplies. This is living! Well, welcome back, viewers. Mitch and I just finished that walk around Melbourne. Very odd, mate. It's like they filmed that movie on the beach in the 1960s about a post-apocalyptic world, and they filmed it in Melbourne, and they got it right. Anyway, so last couple of things, good news. Good news story for today. I saw last night in the news that Italy's death toll, for the first time, has peaked and is starting to come down. Mate, we needed to hear that news. So there is hope. This is going to be over at some point in the future. Finally, quote of the day. If you can't do great things, do small things in a great way. Last thing I want to finish with is song of the day. Do this if you do nothing else or anything else that I've talked about in these videos. Crank up this song. It was suggested to me by Mikey Haynes. Shout out to you, brother. Anything by The Cure will do, but this song in particular is just like heaven. My wife and I, when we're feeling like teenagers, will crank this to 11 and jump around the lounge room like a couple of frogs. So put on this. Look after each other.